Awareness, hey? Well, let's just say I didn't get up this morning. I was absolutely busting to go to the toilet, and I was actually, because the boys were doing cuddles and things, and obviously I haven't stopped for days, and this is where people put masks on, innit? And I'm meant to not come on until I'm feeling a little bit better, and I should come on once I'm up and about. But I'm lucky the boys are at a museum today, so they went off this morning, and as soon as they left, I just literally had a cry that you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. You're damned if you're well and you're damned if you're not. You're damned if... So let me explain right now. All the back of my head and my neck is in so much pain. Every single joint in my body is out. And the problem is, people don't believe you, and they think you're faking it, and they leave you like it. And this is the problem. And the thing is, this is when the medical people should be kicking in. And this is when I should be able, this is when I should be able to ring my care team, basically, and say, I've pushed it too far. Now, my own fault as well, because I had such a fucking awesome evening last night, just doing my own thing. And I pushed it even further with floor work last night. And this morning, when I first woke up this morning, all I feel that someone like me should have is a physio coming in and literally working with you when you're like this in your body. And this is EDS awareness. This is the side of me that I don't like people to see. This is the side of EDS that since I was a very little girl, I have laid in bed. I remember really clearly. Let me try and get into a comfortable position at the moment. I haven't got my pillows straight. So, no, I don't sleep in my hat. I literally just leant over and reached for my hat just so I could put it on a minute. So, for those that don't know, when this little body of mine came into the world, it came into the world screaming of aches and pains, and sometimes the physical body is, well, the physical body is a wonderful, amazing thing, and it really is, and it heals itself. But they say that there's no cure for this condition, and all you can do is manage it. My mum is very into making sure that she doesn't eat the wrong foods, the right foods. She never told me what the right foods and wrong foods are. My mum's not like that. She's not an educator. She's not, she was diagnosed when I was 15, and I was actually having probably most of my challenges around that age and time. And in fact was when I put myself in care, and instead I've just had an upcycled project just come through, which if I could have done, I'd be on it this morning, pressing, saying, yeah, that was absolutely brilliant. And I know people are thinking, what if she was on her own with the kids? You push through. It's horrible, but you push through. And you're a mum. You don't get time to rest. Even if it was COVID, even a mum on her own. So let's use this little COVID thing or getting ill off the vaccination, either one. And it doesn't matter. Once you get ill, there's a point where you have to say to people, I'm ill. Yeah. So you either phone into work and you go, I'm sick, I can't come into work today. But you can be sick and come into work, not go into work, but you can't be sick and not get on with normal everyday house stuff and things like that. Like, obviously, last night, luckily, I decided, because I've kept the door and everything down, because if I'd shut the door on it last night, then right here, right now, I would be like, oh, no way, I just can't cope with it today. I think one of the main reasons that I went into psychology and coaching and the youth work was the decision was, if I was ever in a wheelchair properly, like for life, at least I can still use my brain. It's not a job that requires my physical body. Do you know what I mean? It's not a job that requires my physical body to do things. But the most important thing for someone like me now is having somebody who even believes that the body is at that point. And like, even the photograph where I put a photograph off of the back of my neck and someone went, oh, that looks fine. And it's like, wow, you really don't get it, do you? You really, 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 really don't get it. So, but the challenge when you're in this state anyway is that a lot of people won't get up to it. A lot of people won't. And especially when you're younger, especially when you're in your teens and you're really, 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 really struggling. And the challenge is when you're in your teens, and I remember really clearly, and I'm not going to stay on here long because this is really horrible and I'm in a lot of pain. And I don't have my GP here where I can, I've got to get a blanket off my legs. It's hurting all my dislocations. Ow. Ow, fuck's sake. Seriously, my ankles are out, my toes are out. You can start hearing me So my ankle, literally everything from the top of my neck here at the base of my head. But the thing is, it's radiating all in the back of my head, and it really hurts all in the back of my head. And it feels like, the only thing I can describe it as is when you're in that crunch of labour and you're going from like the Braxton Hicks contractions into full blown, and then at each stage of labour they're checking your cervix to see how far it's dilated, and the cervix has to dilate. So this thing in the back of my head, it's like a dilation, and all that radiating pain from literally right here in the back of my head. So if you get your fingers and you put your hand on the back of your head and then you go into that place, so that is just constant pain. But the difference is sometimes my head is loose and I can move it around, but sometimes it's pushing straight so in. Hey there, Patsy. It's pushes so into the neck here that it causes a headache all around here and all around the back. But the problem is people don't realise that you've got a nerve that goes all the way from the top of your brain and your head, and it goes all the way down into your spine. Ow! So literally, so as the brain stem in the back of the head, which I've shown pictures, my hands are out as well, so you can see the movement. I'm trying to actually close my hands right now. So for those that you are used to seeing me being able to quite agilely move my hands, when I wake up in the morning, it's like, before people troll me, my boys are out already. They were at a museum and art gallery down the road with their dad today. Alan's art piece has now gone back to the art gallery, and I think Dean's sort of looking to do his own showcase down there. But down at the art gallery, it just means that the boys have got some space to actually do some bits with on the table down there. And obviously, because I've been given the 7 days notice on the garage, I can't really leave this situation. So Dean's taken over to give us a hand this week. But this morning when I woke up, because I've pushed it so much, it just was at that, I mean, seriously, since they've walked out this morning, I have just laid here and cried, like just cried to the point that it's like, why? You know, why have I got to go through this? If I go, you know, even if, shit, I'm just trying to move my legs. Hang on a minute. When I was about 11, and I was at bow hunt, I woke up one morning and it was a weekend and my friends were knocking on the door and my mum was shouting me to come and, you know, your mates are at the door and stuff. And then she eventually came in. Ow! She eventually came in the room and I was sitting in the bed and I was sitting up and I just said to my mum, I said, Mum, I can't. I said, my legs hurt. I said, my knees hurt. And she said, what do you expect me to do about it? She said, I've taken you to the doctors. She said, everybody keeps saying there's nothing wrong with you. So it's just like, come on, you know, your mates are at the door. And I just laid there and cried. And I just said, but Mum, I cannot move my legs. She said to me, she said, oh, for fuck's sake. She said, why can't you do this at school? Why can't you do this at school at least so somebody does something? Why can't? And it's like, but Mum, it's when I wake up in the morning, you know. No, the reason that I say about my kids being around is because the judge to take Aaron and Faith. So basically, as I'd said, I was at Save the Family and there was idiots that kept dragging out the washing at the washroom. Ow, my neck, just too... Oh, my goodness, you try and just get into a comfortable position. Just wait. EDS Awareness Month. Ah, you bastard! Hello to ETS Awareness Month. I currently have every single joint of mine in my entire body, from the tips of my toes to my ankles to my knees to my jaw to my shoulders, my neck, my spine, every single disc down the back of my spine, all the way up to the base of my neck, all subluxed. So I was 11 years old, laying on my bed, and oh shit, it's all radiating down my arms. I'm struggling to hold my phone and move my toes at the moment. Look. It's just dead legs. It's complete dead legs. It's dead. So it's like when Aaron and Faith were taken, no medical assessor, no EDS specialists. All they had, so for those that know the system, your children, when they're taken into care, your children, when they're taken into care, have to go through a LAC review medical. Out. And that basically means that the doctor medically assesses your child, which is not nice. I've had a really horrible one done with an unnecessary breast examination and unnecessary vaginal examination, but apparently these were necessary. But if I could show you the back of my neck right now, this is why I really wish somebody else would video this properly, even if I don't want to be videoed at the worst times, even if people just have to show snippets, because the challenge is they went from EDS is the easiest condition for anyone to claim to have to Kellie, Kellie ow, ow, shit, my pelvis, ow, my hips, ow! Fuck's sake, this is just my hips and pelvis sliding back in, yeah? And it gets really fucking annoying when people don't fucking believe you. And if you want to talk about mental health fucking issues, read the post that I put up the other day about mental health and illness. And it's all about not being believed. And it's all about people freaking causing you shit. And it's all about people and the lack of fucking medical care. What needs to happen right this second, right now, is I should have been able to have pressed my lifeline button today. There should have been codes, yeah? So if you don't know what a lifeline phone is, I've got a phone coming in literally on Tuesday. Oh, I've got to put my foot back in. Oh my goodness, do you know how to put your foot back in? Like seriously, yeah. But isn't it lucky I've got Dean? He's not quite getting it. Like, but bless him. This morning, I actually cried. He said, "What do I do to help?" And I just looked at him and went, "I need the toilet." And he's like wanted to pick me up, and then just sort of like, it's like, there you go. And it's like, no, and I just fell back into bed. And it's like, I haven't got this little horse thing, but if you remember them toys that you push up at the bottom and like the giraffe goes, it's like that. So you've got to put your ankles down on the floor, you've got your knees. So imagine being an 11-year-old child not believed. Imagine him being a 7-year-old child not believed. Like, I don't remember the first time or ever young, but there are particular points in my life when I was a kid that I really remember situations like trying to prove to people. So going, look, you know, look, and pulling my fingers. And this is what people in the EDS community call party tricks, yeah? If I wasn't talking to you guys right now, I would probably laying in a ball crying right now, wishing that somebody would just believe me, that somebody would just understand and get it and just believe. And it's like, even now, look, I can't even straighten my leg. Look. That's me trying to straighten my leg. That's all the muscles, everything going in. There you go. Straight. Hang on. No, still not straight. Wait. There you go. Now, if I bring it back, so I want to try and straighten my leg again. So let me try and straighten my leg again. Ignore my little socks strapped to my legs and my skating socks. Oh, fuck off, Kellie. Seriously, I can't be asked with bollocks people like you. So literally, that is straightening my leg. And it will, there, and in. Yeah, into the stake. So there you go. So the muscles will literally go right into spasm. That's all the muscles going into spasm now. And then stop. Nope, still spasms. I'm not even holding it, look. I haven't even got my hand on it. Yeah? So that's a complete spasm. All the tightness here in the back of the muscles. And then all the softness here. So the ligaments are all tight here. And all too lax around here. And it's these people that I can't be arsed with. I really... If you know it's true, why does it matter what everybody else believes? Thank you, Kellie. Actually, you're actually asking a really fucking important question there. I don't give a shit what you all think of me. I fucking don't. I couldn't give a fucking shit whether you marmited me. I couldn't give a shit whether you believe that I've got EDS or not. I couldn't give a shit whether you give a damn about my skating, whether you give a damn about my dancing, or whether you give a damn about my maternity plan. Yeah? I don't give a shit whether you believe me that, well, all of a sudden when a baby's head is coming out of my womb, I don't give a shit whether you believe me that all of a sudden that I will rupture and go into full-blown hemorrhage, as well as partaking my hips that will sublux and separate. Shall I show you something? Can you guys do this? Yeah? You ready for your hips? So basically, if there's a baby coming out from here and you've got Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, straight away you've got tears. Straight away you've got fucked up hips. Yeah? Straight away, no, I'm not pregnant. Straight away you've got all your twisted hips and stuff like that. No, at the end of the day, the only reason I had social care come in is because Professor Bird wrote to them, this was with Faith, to say that Kellie is obviously pregnant, that it had resulted in domestic violence and I was no longer with the partner, but that I was going to need a lot of assistance because I would be a high-risk pregnancy and birth, right? So then what we had was something called a team around the child. One, to make sure that while I was in labour with Faith, that, and this is being that people understand the implications of giving birth with hypermobility. Please remember, I was young when I was pregnant with Jessica, who they terminated. I was only 15, and they didn't give a damn about, same when they took my wisdom teeth out, they didn't give a damn about my jaw. Yeah, so my jaw is completely dislocated and subluxed on both points and sits out of the base. Yeah, so, and that's what goes on in the base and the back of my neck. Now, once the pain level gets to a certain point, so say you're in labour and you go, right, I'm in labour, and the nurse will go, what stages of labour? And they won't take you into a hospital until you are at a certain point of labour, yeah? Now, when I was in labour with Elijah, as you know, I was scared shitless of going to the hospital. Scared shitless. It was so wavery on social. I was in Guildford at the time, and Dean said, what do you want to do? And I said, if I go to Guildford Hospital, they haven't got my medical notes. So if I go to Guildford Hospital, I've got to walk in there and you've got to explain to them while I'm in labour that I've got Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, what this means. Like, my voice has just gone just as I'm talking to you then. So you've got to explain to them we haven't got any of the things. It's going to be completely different people. We've worked so hard with the consultant at Portsmouth. We've got to get to Portsmouth. Also, remember, Dean doesn't drive, and I was driving. So all the shooting star and all that beautifulness, we made the decision to drive to the hospital, to the point that as I was walking up the hospital, up the ward, all I'm doing is trying to sit down saying I need a poo. And when I got to the hospital, this is the difference, right? It went from us standing at the thing to, hi, who are you? What, so are you in labour? Hey, how you doing? If you're in A&E, it's hi, and any, ow. Seriously, the pain in my fucking head is horrible. It will go down. I'm going to take you through it. I'll show you through the day. This is me waking up in the morning. I'm showing you. I've not got my kids I can show you. And it's EDS Awareness Month, so I'm going to. Now, when you're said a 7-year-old girl and you're playing PE at school and you're trying to explain that your knees hurt or your fingers hurt or you're catching a ball, is diagnosis really important? Yes, it is. Whether it's a residual of your past thoughts and actions, say somebody like who gets diabetes, who's been shoving sugar and coffee and shit in, and not, oh, see if I take, this is where I should be putting my crane on. So what I should be basically doing now is putting my crane on, strapping on my braces and getting myself up. And then literally getting into a cold, this is where I want to get into the sea. Getting into cold water completely freezes your body, right? And then getting into a warm shower. So at the end of the day, to be believed, whether I'm on my own, so going to a GP and explaining to a GP. So first of all, you've only got about 5 minutes with the GP. If you've got a specialised condition, you book a double appointment and you get 10. That GP's got to understand that to get you to the right person, because we've got such a fragmented system. So say I'm going in with my knees straight away. I've got holes in my knees where I've had arthroscopies. I've had tubes up my ass. I've had tubes down my throat. And I've led to a lot of barium meals because of my belly. So if a child is trying to say to you they've got bellyache, there's usually 2 reasons a child has bellyache. They've either maybe eaten something that's called food poisoning or things like that, or they've got anxiety, right? Or there is an underlying issue, right? And when children say they don't want to go to school and they've got tummy ache, most parents are cunts, and they are. and they will force a child to get up in the morning, get dressed, walk to school, sit in school all day, go away, leave them, go pick them up. When they come home, they wonder why your child doesn't want to talk to you. Because you've completely betrayed them. You've completely violated them. You haven't believed them. You didn't nurture them and care for them and provide for whatever it was that was causing that stomachache. Now, for somebody like me and my children, I can't remember what it is. My mum sent it over in an email to try to explain to the social workers, because I keep going on about people, about my lifestyle and foods and how I eat. Now, it's only important when you're in a relationship. And when you get into a relationship, you've got to explain to that person why you're the way that you are, why one day you may be feeling a little bit better than others, one day you might not be, why just... So the easiest thing for me to do is put my skates on now. Not if I had both stoppers, because that'd be too hard risk. It would jolt it. So by putting on some braces, you're enabling yourself. I'm going to start coming out of it. I've got to come out of it. I'm sorry. I've got to come out of it. I've got to get it sorted. I've got shit to do. I'm a mum. I've got stuff to do. I run a house. I've got too much to do today. And out. Oh, this is where it's going to get, because I'm actually sat with my head on top of it. So now, basically, your head is held onto your spine. Ow, shit. Your head is held onto your spine by your discs, yeah? And so you literally, I can't remember how many are now. It's completely done my brain. So literally from your tail to your top. So all my shoulders are out. Everything's completely skaboo. If I stood up now, I'd drop to the floor, right? So one, Kerry, you laugh at me fucking socks, mate. I'm going to fucking Will Smith ya. Right. So now I've got to crack my ankles in, okay? So, hang on. You can probably hear, there you go. And it will go all the way down into this bone, all the way down into this bone, all into my knees. And my knees hurt all the way up into my hip. And all the way into my hip, knee, thing. So then you're sitting on your pelvis. And this is why transgender people, so women, men that want to be women, you can't ever be a true woman. And the reason that you can't be a true woman is because it doesn't matter what you try to change in your DNA. Oh, I just want to crack everything. I've got to go and crack everything. Let me just have a bit of a thing. Hang on. You can't change your hips and your pelvis. A female pelvis and a male pelvis is completely different. Hello, world. Hello, physical body. We've got to come back in it. Though the reason being belief is important is because people change. The whole point of having social services or multi-agency framework, if you're a child in school with a condition, be it that be dyslexic, be it that is that you have the label of ADHD, all these bollocks things, by the way, because it's all to do with you being in a prison. Whoa, do you want to watch? I can't get my leg down. Sit that down again. I'll try again in a bit. But hey, I'm faking this shit, people. I'm faking it. I'm an attention-seeking fucking cunt. That's why it's important, Kerry. Because it's like being raped, isn't it? And you're trying to tell your family that somebody in your home life is doing something to you, and they're telling you, don't be stupid. Yeah? So... They look really uncomfortable. I don't think I could wear them. Do you know why they're so nice? I get really bad athlete's foot. All EDSs get really bad athlete's foot. Our skin tears. So look. So, come on, let me do it for you. You might even laugh. 2 seconds, people. 2 seconds. I've got a personality while in pain. Let me try and get my shoulders in. Oh, my goodness. I'm so crunchy this morning. Ow. My name's Chubby. My mum's chubby. My dad's chubby. And my sister's chubby too. And one day we were going along in our car and I said, faster, Daddy,
faster. And he went even faster. And I said, faster, Daddy, faster. And he went even faster. And I said, faster, Daddy, faster. And he went so fast, my face went bleed. So basically, I am... you can put that one on your Facebook, Charles. So I am completely fucking... I'm not as bad as some people, but I'm going to get one of them really goosey things here, look. So my skin is different to your skin. So when I got my toes in, and I get a lot of athlete's fur, it's really handy. And the socks actually help you scratch it sometimes as well. And also, because when you're together, you know, when you get your legs together and it's really fucking horrible, I don't, it's one of the reasons I don't wear skirts. I'm sorry, guys, I've got to go down a minute. It's one of the reasons that I don't wear skirts. And the reason that I don't wear skirts is because my legs stick together and I really don't like it. And it makes my legs, like, go a bit funny. So anyway, what would be really nice is a really fucking fit personal trainer coming in right now. I'd need a chiropractor, actually. So this is the problem with the system, and this is the problem with EDS. So say I ring my doctor wants to know what joint's out and what joint's got to be put back in. But they can't, they have to, so they would have to send somebody out to deal with my ankle to my feet. They would have to send somebody out to deal with my knees, somebody to deal with my hips, somebody to deal with my pelvis. Then I would have to deal the people for my spine. So then we're getting into neurology. So then the neurologist would deal with my head, and then it's dealing with, so say I went into A&E, and this is what's happened with my life. So basically dealing with neck side of this. I first ever went into A&E with it being really bad after giving birth to Liam. And I was in a paralyzed seizure, like completely. Yes, self-referred to physios, all that stuff's not a problem. But have you ever seen, the challenge is, if I have the Chiari drop or full-blown Chiari and I see a chiropractor, it paralyzes you, right? If you see, I can post you loads of information about seeing the right and wrong physio, yeah? There is so much information out there for us with EDS people educating physios, right? Now, I can literally go on to this message now and say to the physio, I need to come up. Do you know what physios do? I know my physio. I know my physio program inside out, yeah? I can tell you my whole fucking routine. I've been doing it my whole life. The challenge is this is what I said to save the family. Because I was in a flat, I said, I need to get up and train. I do Pilates, core training, things, but I'm also, I do still try to keep hold of some of my stuff, because skating is allowed, yes, but netball, no. Netball, no. Netball is over for me. I will never play netball again. In fact, as much as that kills me, and it does, because netball's my life. I love netball. I've always played netball. And for those that don't know, I played with the Army Wives team. And prior to that, I also played for my school. That's obvious. That's easy. But I played county, so I played outside netball as a kid. It got a bit challenging because of changing schools and things like that. And then I think I initially dropped out one stage of school, and then after school I went back and joined the Netball Association. So I'm also a qualified netball coach. I'm a qualified football coach, I'm a qualified youth worker. I've got a degree in psychology, criminology, business studies, and all this thing. But it doesn't matter if you don't have people around you who don't. So if all of a sudden I say to somebody, oh, give us a hand, mate. So simply like the boxes. So say I'm really struggling now, the garage door is open, yeah, I'm in mid-project, yeah. If I stop and say to somebody, oh, just grab my arm for me and pull that, they wouldn't do it. I've asked Dean to pull my ankles in the morning. And when we were living in the car before we come to Portsmouth, he did. He pulled my ankle for me and he just cried. No, he cried. He just sat there and cried. He said, do you have to live with that? Is that how it feels? And he couldn't do it. He said, I just can't pull your ankle again, Kellie. He said, I'm not qualified. He said, I don't know what I'm doing. He said, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to. So if you've got a child sitting in front of you, and so take a broken arm, yeah? Say your child comes home really quiet from school and you don't know what's wrong with them. And you ring the school and they go, well, they kept crying. Well, what did you do about it? Well, nothing, 'cause there's nothing wrong with them. But he kept crying. So what did you do? Well, we told him to shut up. What, you told my son to shut up? Well, yeah, because he kept crying. Well, he kept crying for a reason. No, he was just whinging. Yeah, but whinging about what? Well, he couldn't get his own way. Well, no, he's saying his arm hurts. Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with his arm. So then the mum takes him down. So yeah, but there's nothing wrong with his arm. Yeah. So they can't see a physical actual snap and a break. So it takes for an X-ray. Then all of a sudden, these incompetent humans that have completely abused this little boy, telling him that there's nothing wrong with him and not believed him. Yeah. Kerry, you fucking rock chick. The Derby girls have already done it. That's why. The Derby girls already done it. So if people don't know another side of skating, it's called Skate Derby. And the Skate Derby girls have to basically, it's like relay on skates and things like that, but they have to batter each other out with the ball and things. So Skate Derby's not actually that far. See, there's the other one. Mine, I'll say it, but people already know what it is, and there's going to be people that are doing it now, and I'd love to see it, but I really wanted to be the first one to really go for it, but I won't be now. One girl's already done the skating and hula hooping, but mine's the violin. I want to play the violin while skating. That's my one. I just need a violin and I need to master it properly. Right, anyway, my legs are starting to get really fucking annoyed with this and really impatient themselves. But the reason that it's so important to be believed, I don't give a shit what my neighbours think out there. But when it comes to social, yeah, it is really fucking horrible. What that thing should say is that Kellie is a mother. This is who she is. This is her personality. This is her qualifications. This is what she does. This is the condition that she has. And this is the gap between her worst day and her last. And the problem with going on to disability, and the reason that I don't like being classed as disabled, I'm disabled right now. Right now, I'm fucking disabled. In fact, I'm just overcoming paralysia, you know, and a lot of people will stay in it. Why'd you get paralysia? You get paralysia because it pushes so damn much down on the neck and the down here that it causes all the traps to all of the nerves, and all my joints are so out. Like I said, I'm like one of them glow sticks. You've got to crack me to make me glow up. So that's what I've got to go and do. So, but the thing is, it's about maintaining it money-wise, because the NHS will only repair you from broken. But the thing is, on the system, once I get to A&E, they've got it on the system. It's getting past all you fucking cunts. It's getting past the person at the reception. It's getting past the social workers. It's getting past the fucking school teachers and all this bollocks. But once you get to the likes of Professor Bird, you know, you get past people saying, oh, I wish I had a magic wand. Or if we, you know, once you get to the specialist, it's cool. But the problem is once you get to that side, then you're dealing with a whole lot of people. I don't like going to any of these EDS conferences because I would have to walk in. I'd walk in on a pair of fucking roller skates, mate. But I would have to walk in to seeing people strapped into a crane in a chair. And it's like, I just want to tell them to get up and get out. And the thing is, the pain is just too much for people, especially if you're a kid. And especially if you've got to that point where you're like this. So what would happen to somebody like me now is they wouldn't do a chiropractor. I went to the chiropractor myself. I went to Nick myself. Nick's still on holiday. He's not back. So it's either I've got to find another chiropractor, and I only trust Nick. I'm not letting anybody touch my body. But Nick should be able to come in now, literally roll me over, put me down, crack me, get my vagus nerve back in, boom, boom, boom. It'd be done within 15 minutes. Do you know what I mean? And then I would have to go swimming. Then I would have to go and do my core training, my Pilates, things like that. Then I'd have to focus on that. And this is how I've written the whole schedule, because Elijah and Shiloh need the level with the swimming and the training themselves. I mean, because they've got that body for the rest of their lives, and school only give a shit until 18. Well, what about when they've got their career? Hey, boss, I'm not coming in today. Why are you not coming in today? Well, I'm laying in bed. Well, get your fucking ass out of bed into work then. I can't. What do you mean you can't? I can't. Can't or won't. Don't want to. Why don't you want to? Because I don't feel like it. What do you mean you don't feel like it? Don't feel like it. Not in the mood. What do you mean not in the mood? You're fired. So what job do I do? Talk about EDS. Sell EDS projects. The unfortunate thing is, I've got a whole network of people that lost their kids through to drugs, alcohol, domestic violence. I couldn't give a shit about stuff like that. I could and couldn't if they're dealing with the fact that person is sexually abused. People have got no right to use my childhood of going through what they label as rape and sexual abuse. And it is by kids, as I've said, you know, as I've always told you, I don't know what age I lost my virginity, very young, because when you're hypermobile and very flexible and you're trying to explain, no, I'm not at the moment, that is so tight. If I had a physio, they'd be literally getting all of this out. Now, the thing is, I do my own physio, which is what I wanted to try and show you, and why I'm doing this PT training, because I don't understand my whole physiology properly. Yes, did bits at school. Yes, obviously we have PE and stuff. I've trained myself more than most to understand things like vagus nerve, cerebellum, and all of this sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, being believed means that I have my management plan. It means that social workers don't fucking intrude. Would I need social workers in my life? Yeah, if all of a sudden I did have the boys with me, yeah, and I rang up this morning and said to the social worker, I'm out. First thing would be to say, what's the boys' schedule today? So if I said, right, they've got swimming, boom, 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 gymnastics, what, it would be to make sure that that stays the same. Okay, so cool. They get dropped off at school, they get picked up, and that's that. Yeah, so mum gets a whole break. So then what do? Lay in bed? If I had a remote control to my telly right now, I didn't have the NCSI on, I'd lay that. But this is why I designed my company the way I did, because I thought, well, cool, if I'm on a laptop, so I'm still working, by the way, while laying flat in my bed. I'm officially still working. Yeah? This is my job. This is how it would be. So obviously, a lot of you are all coming back from school runs and things like that. And take the facts that when I had wires in my wrist when I had Liam, yeah, and I would drive the kids to school, we had this situation with social where I sort of said, like, I really need a hand getting the boys to school while, and they were a bit too young to go by themselves. This is how they ended up going by themselves. So I had literally, I changed my hand. I had literally like a full-blown cast. So I had a full-blown cast that went from my hand all the way up to my shoulder. And they said, well, drive them to school then. And I was like, what? You expecting me to drive my kids to school with a cast on my arm? Now, don't forget, usually you'd have your mum or your dad or your brother or your sister or your uncle or your aunt or maybe your cousin or maybe your next door neighbour or your friend who would knock on the door and say, how are you getting the kids to school today? And you'd be sitting there going, I'm just trying to decide this myself. So all of a sudden, brilliant, great, walk to school. But have you ever tried walking that distance with a full-blown cast on your arm and the heaviness, and also with the subluxations and dislocations? Okay, so get a bus. Well, what if there isn't a direct bus route to where you're going? So, and a lot of parents argue with social and people like this around their own children, not with the parents having a condition, but with the child having a condition and getting them to school, especially if they're outside the area. Now, take if Elijah and Shiloh were at school. So let's use this as an example. So you're all social workers today. There you go. Hubble bubble, toilet trouble, fire burning cauldron bubble. I wave more magic wand and every person sitting here beyond is now a fucking social worker. So come over here and fucking judge me. So now you're all social workers, and now you're all sitting in my child protection meeting. Now you're all sitting in statutory meetings talking about fatting Kellie rotten. Now you've all got to make a decision on whether you're going to kidnap my fucking kids off me and say mother's so fucking sick that the children are going to grow up to be her carers. So we're going to take her children, completely fucking traumatise them, completely destroy the fucking mother and throw her children into a forever family where they're not going to be understood about this condition. And don't even get into me on getting into the 50-50 chance and why even have kids. I have that argument with people and it's on my website. Yeah, where it says about on my website with the couple, press it and it will say, how do you tell someone you love you have a 50-50 chance of passing on your DNA? Yeah. So all of a sudden, social workers, you've got do your paperwork and you've got to get to know me. So all of a sudden, you go to a meeting, it's what day of it today? It's Wednesday. I don't think you're all in the office. I think you're all working from home today. I don't know if you've got calls, you've all got Skype. So anyway, social workers, we can talk to each other like this. So bring. Hello, social worker, how you doing? Hang on a minute, you don't even ask me if I'm all right. What was that? You've had a fucking phone call from the council that I'm feeding pigeons and I've got me stuff. Excuse me, but I'm not really feeling very well today. Yeah, but your stuff's all downstairs and your garage door is open. Yeah, but is it in anyone's way? Is it obstructing? Yeah, but what if someone steals it? Well, it's not my karma. What do you mean it's not your karma? Well, it's not my karma. So, because I don't steal, so it's not my karma. You know what I mean? Not my karma, it's not my energy. And actually, a lot of the people in the community actually really like me and respect me, and they're quite understanding of the condition. And you'd be quite surprised how many people have been struggling with it and not been believed by anybody that they're really struggling and they're in wheelchairs and they're laying in bed and they're on DLA and they're on sick and the benefits is being paid for by government and they're just watching Jeremy Kyle. And now all of a sudden people are really starting to get depressed and suicidal. Some people are turning to drugs, some people are drinking, some people end up never going out their houses because it's really cool. You got the Uber and delivery, but your money's paid in and you haven't got to go out to work. So it's not really a problem, is it? So how do you get the kids to school, whether the kids have got a condition or a mum's got a condition? So the being believed is so damn important because it's about a management plan, isn't it? Right, Kellie's got up this morning and she's stamped on the devil's head and she's on it and she's getting things done. She's all right today. Well, there is no such thing with EDS as a great day. It's I'm managing it. There is always one joint in my body that is looser than that particular day. It might not aggravate me as much as my neck. Yeah, but just because nobody's believing me about my neck. So the difference with my neck is I ring and they go, right, do you need to go to the hospital? And I say, what's the point? So which department am I going to? It's your neck. So you go into whatever it is, or neurology. Well, I'm going to the scanner first of all. So straight away, a paramedic's got to come and move me. So and this is what fucks me off, right? So imagine me in this situation laying on the floor, and this is how I was at Save the Family, yeah? Crying because of my neck. I'd slipped on the water, taking the washing over in the room. I'd come back and I was literally just laying. And this is after my children were taken, okay? So I didn't have the kids to get up to. And eventually I was just dead to it. And it's exactly what's going on with my neck now, right? So anyway, the paramedics get called and they come in and Liam gives them my paperwork that says that I have EDS and that I'm under investigation for cranial instability, Chiari malformation, POTS. Wearing an upright MRI scan. And I was living in Leyland. I was now in Flintshire. None of my medical records are there. All we've got is my paperwork. The staff then tell the paramedic that I don't have EDS and that my children have been taken and that the doctor has said that I'm faking it. So while I'm in horrendous pain, the paramedic goes from me being on gas and air with the crane on, being ready to be able to go down to the ambulance to be put into the scanning machine, yeah? Liam is telling them This is my mum's diagnosis and this is what she is going through. Liam is the only person to believe me in that room because he has been there and been there when it's been dealt with before, and he's also been there for the physio. Children shouldn't watch things like this now, should they? What if they've got a parent with epilepsy? But children shouldn't see fits. Do you know how many children have been taken into care because their parents have got epilepsy? Do you know how many forced adopted children there are because of parents with epilepsy? And cancer. Mama's going to die anyway, so we might as well get the kids settled now. And you wouldn't even believe me, but you will soon when the FEA book comes out, and you'll read all the stories and you'll go, hang on a minute, but there's physios. Hang on a minute, but there are, like, say now, I could press a thing on my phone, yeah, and it would let my support system know that I'm out today. Yeah, that means I'm at my worst. But how do you get people to know that? So you should be able to sit in a multi-agency framework and go, right, when mum doesn't have an epileptic fit, she's fine. What's the warning and onset signs? Now, most epileptics will know when they're going to have a seizure. They know their limitations. They know what they need, same as a diabetic. What if you didn't believe a diabetic and you took away their insulin and called them a crackhead? You fucking dirty crackhead. Look at you with your fucking needles. You little wanking fucking dirty crackhead. Same as an asthmatic. You don't need your inhaler. You're faking it. And you got your inhaler. There's your inhaler. I'm having an asthma attack. I can't do that because I'll stop breathing. And so you take the inhaler away because you're telling the person that they're faking it. Oh, stop over exaggerating now. Don't be so fucking stupid. Stop faking that fucking shit. Yeah? Do you know what I mean? And this morning there, Kelly. Hey, it's quite nice coming on at this time. Hello, Libby. I've not seen you for ages. Fuck's sake. Hello, people. How are you doing? I need your help today. Do you want to all help me get out of bed? Now, if you were all in the room with me right now and you came in and I was laying like this, do you know what the cunting fucking shitty thing is? I'd drag myself out of it. I'd put on a mask and I'd be all right. But if you were my real friend, like my friend Leanne, not Leanne White that's just come on now, but my friend Leanne, who used to be in Preston, and we'd been out the night before, she'd already know. She'd already know that I'd be struggling, yeah? So say you come in and you come to talk to me and I was laying like this, and you go, morning, love, and I'd lay here and go, morning. And you'd have to know the difference between, am I just laying chilling or am I laying because I can't physically fucking move? So like my mum coming in at the age of 11, not believing, and it's not that my mum doesn't believe because she has the condition. What my mum doesn't understand is all this bollocks and fucking trauma that goes on around it with the system. But my sisters went to private school. My mum's husband spent £50,000 for my mum to have her teeth done. Yeah. So EDS doesn't affect your teeth, by the way. Amber Hartman. But you know, my mum spent £50,000 to have that done. So anyway, we do actually have an EDSer in the house right now who would actually really understand what it is that I'm trying to explain. And if she really wanted to, could probably actually explain it to you in all of the words and actual words that a specialist would say to explain what's going on right now. And you'd read it and you'd go, what? You'd read it and you'd go, well, hang on a minute. How is she physically laying there dealing with that? So Lizzie's here. So I'm trying to explain to people that I woke up this morning. Dean's taken the boys to the museums because he could see the tears in my eyes this morning, and he knew that it was just a day that I need to be left to get on with this. I've got 7 days notice to clear my garage out, by the way, because they're telling me that they're going to shut my garage down for doing this car boot. As you know, if you've been following my lives, what's going on. So anyway, I've got to get up and get on today. However, when I woke up this morning, I've pushed it. Like I've pushed myself to complete. So every single joint is out from toes to knees to hips, and my neck and everything was like, I looked like this morning. Have you ever seen that film Death Becomes Her, when she gets pushed down the stairs? I woke up this morning looking like Death Becomes Her at the bottom of the stairs, with everything all over the place. And it's like, you just need, like, even my leg, look, I'll show you my leg, like, right now. So look, my leg there, yeah. So I woke up this morning in a complete Death Becomes Her situation, that it's like you've got to sort of go to pull yourself around and up, and people don't get this. And what I'm trying to explain is so I think Kellie is genuinely trying to understand, but from a point of view of the person that she was, and she's asking me for help. So it's like, first of all, people have got to understand that this is a mum that I was in, and I needed childcare to be able to go to A&E to have an upright MRI scan to confirm that I have Chiari malformation, even though I've got a diagnosis. Of EDS. So, oh, for fuck's sake, seriously, even holding my phone, my shoulder is out, my arms are out, my elbows are out, my neck is out. And I believe based on the education that's in this book, so this book basically says that over the lifetime of my years from the cradle to the grave, that these are the potential things that is going to cause for my body, right? So it doesn't matter whether I'm 11 or 111, right? It is only one body, and it's a degenerative condition, and it deteriorates. If I had vascular diagnosis, I'd have probably have been dead. Do I have vascular issues? Yes, you can see it in the back of my hands. They're not up. I will show you this, still laying down. This is what I'm going to prove when I stand up. Ow, my shoulder. So I'm trying to move my shoulder and my arm while having a full-blown dislocation. Not faking it. You think I am? Ah, yeah, it's a crack. Did you hear that? Hang on. Hang on. Oh. Oh, it's right out today. I've got no fucking thing in my arm today. Hang on. I've got to get my shoulder in. I've got to get my neck in. I've got to get my knees in. I've got to get my back in. Yeah! Fucking annoys me. It does. It annoys me that people don't believe me. It annoys me that people leave me like this. It annoys me that people will be cunts to me like this. People will call me lazy. People will say I'm faking it. But I have a diagnosis. It's a legal diagnosis. No judge will refute it. It's never been submitted to court. I got battered for 26 fucking weeks, mate. And even this book never made it into it. And this book, how do you get a social worker who's got your kids to know what this means? Take Jonas, Sarah's son. Sarah's children were taken into care, and Jonas was a young boy with Down syndrome, and he was placed into foster care. And when he was coming to contact, Sarah was getting really upset because they were mismanaging. There's management, and then there's mismanaged. This is called mismanaged because I've now been pushed to 7 days to sort my garage out, or I lose all of the content. So now I've got to push my body even harder, and today it has knocked me for 6. Thank God Dean is here and he's taken the boys out. But at the end of the day, I would get up around with my boys as it is anyway. Elijah would have been quite happy with a bit of a rest day because of his knee and his elbow himself. So we would have been quite happy with the laptops, getting them out, doing some web design work, editing some photographs. We'd have probably sat and done some editing with bits of photo things, do some reading. It won't take me long. This is why I always say 1:30, because it won't take me long. I can either die to this right now, turn the phone off and go to sleep. But if I don't, things don't get done. So I've got to push myself through it. I've always had a cleaner for this reason, because the cleaner keeps things going. So by coming in at 7 o'clock in the morning and in the evening to keep things going means that I don't have to push myself to do things like even my ironing. I've always had somebody do all of that. And that's part of a management plan. That's part of social services, adult and children's social care, sitting down and working out how to get the best out of somebody like me. So when I had it and it all worked and I was raising Liam, like there's a thing called kids carers, yeah? And they give you kids a bit of a break if they are children's carers. So how they can use children growing up to be your carers when actually there are parents that have no arms, no legs. There are parents with heart conditions. There are parents with tumours. There are parents with, serving. So basically, it's okay for a soldier to be a parent and go off to war and leave their children in boarding schools, but it's not okay for them to get blown up in the war, lose their legs, get PTSD, start drinking, and all of a sudden the state's got to come in and take their kids away from them even though they're in boarding school. It's a really upside down system, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, every single one of us comes out of nappies and will go back into nappies because we'll all get sick and our children are there to look after their parents. Do you know what I mean? But what happens, like, if you've got a parent who's got asthma, should social services come in and go, well, hang on a minute, you've got asthma, you can't have your kids because your kids can't witness you having an asthma attack. That's not very nice now, is it? And it's a really uncaring system. And the reason that it's a really uncaring system is because, people will go, oh, it's drama. Oh, I've heard it before. My mum would be devastated watching this. And it's like, you don't show people your weaknesses. You don't show people your down days. You're meant to put on a mask. Pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile. It's meant to be that sort of world, isn't it? So, but how do I then explain to people what is actually going on right now? So if people were sitting and watching me getting out of bed, they go, what the fuck is she doing? Why? Now, if it was explained that this is what I've got when I wake up in the morning, this is what happens, this is what I have to go through, then I would have that management plan. And I would have that person that comes in and does a deep massage. And you'll go, oh, la-di-da-di-da. Who the fuck do you think you are? Health spells. What the fuck? But what if I had COPD? What about all them people with COPD that don't get their backs banged? You've got to loosen it all up. What about your children's physio? Do you not do it? So when you go to the physio and they send you that piece of paper that shows it, just because you don't understand what that physio means, does that mean you don't do it? So if your child needs physio, where do you do it? Where do you take your children to do their physio? You can't sit around waiting to go into physio. It depends. I don't know if any of you have ever had to be in rehabilitation. Have you ever actually had a car crash and you've got to get yourself back up from 3 broken legs, 6 fucking twisted pelvises, do you know what I mean? Have you ever actually had to recover from something and know how difficult? Have you ever been hit by flu? I don't mean fucking cold. I mean flu where you can't get your head off your pillow. Could you even imagine what it feels like right now in the back of my head that's completely burning? And if I could only give you one thing that it feels like, is if you ever sprayed deep heat on you and it gives you that really cold feeling. That's how my neck and all down my spine feels all the time. But right now, because I'll get up. Now, officially, I would like to put my head in a crane right now and give myself a fucking break from holding my head up. That little nodule that people say there's nothing wrong, that's a disc out. You should see that comment, Lizzie. Someone said, looks fine to me. You'd know what that was. So, yeah, but I can sit here showing you all. But if you were all stood here, Lizzie on here. I'm still here. I thought it had gone on, but I'm still here. Don't worry, just because I thought my signal had gone up, I didn't jump up, start doing hula hoops and get back down and come and fake it for you. In fact, I had to drag myself to this position. Happy, 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 happy talk. Talk about the things we like to do. So, the challenge is, in order for me to believe, I have to have an upright MRI scan that says that, yes, Kelly has EDS, cranial instability, and then find out whether or not this thing's protruding down and causing all these problems. And if it is, I get realigned, there are solutions, and I can get back up to managing my life instead of taking all of this bullshit. And then my little doctor can turn around to everyone and say, you fucking wankers, the lady's 44, she was diagnosed at 22, and it's taken you a further 22 years. And we've put her through. Anyway, in every way and every day, I'm getting stronger and stronger, yes! Every day and every way, I'm getting better and better, yes! And every day and every way, I'm getting better and better, yes! Come on, you fucking cunt. Are you ready? I'm going to put you there a second, just to show you. Now imagine this is my physical body, remember? To you cunts that don't fucking believe me, I think I'm faking it. I hope to God you go to fucking hell or end up one day ending up with some fucking disease that takes you. That's not my shoulder, it's just not going in today. It's not going back in. Which means that I have paralysis all the way down my hands today, tingling in my hands, tingling in my fingers. My hands will feel numb until I can relocate it. And if it stays on the nerve, it'll be horrible. So anyway, I don't let people see me like this. As I was going to say before my signal went out, Lizzie's the only person that would understand that here right now. So ready? Oh, fuck. Let me do it for you. Sorry, you're going to have to see me gut just to see this properly. I'm going to turn sideways for you. Are you ready? Ah! Oh, fuck's sake. Shoulder's still not going in. Hang on, I'll do my knees now. No, there are no sound effects in the background. Crunch my toes a minute. Oof. Ah. I'll go back to bed now.